welcome everybody to this wonderful Saturday Bhagavatam, hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam that happens every Saturday, and it has been happening for so many years. So we are in Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 5. Today we will be discussing about verses 17 to 20. Now, we know this is part of Brahma Narad Samvad, and Narad Muni had asked 6 questions, and questions like symptoms of manifest world, what is its shelter, how is it created, how is it conserved, what it depends on, and what is it composed of. So Narada had actually a doubt, and his father's Brahma, and he thought Brahma is the creator, so he's the greatest. But Brahma is also like worshipping someone, so he does not know whom is his father worshipping. He's asking Brahmaji, whom are you worshipping? I thought you were the greatest. But Brahmaji says, no, I'm not the greatest. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has actually created, and I'm supposed to be just assisting in the process of creation. So Yad Rupam. So every element in this particular universe belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what Brahmaji says. Then Yad Adhishthanam is shelter. So Narayan is supposed to be the ultimate shelter. If Narayan is everything, then what does Brahma do? So it's like that. That's the question. So we enter into the verses for today. Text 17. Tasyapi drashtur ishasya kutasthasyakhilātmanah Srijam srijami srishtoham Ikshayvabhi choditaha. I would request someone to read the translation, please.
Inspired by him only, I discover what is already created by him. Narayan. Under his vision as the all-pervading super soul. And I am also created by him.
So inspired by whom? Inspired by Narayan. Who? I, Brahmaji. What does he do? Discovers what is already created by Narayan. Under his vision, Narayan's vision, as the all-pervading super soul. And I am also created by him only. So when the entire process of creation starts, Mahavishnu is lying on the ocean of causal ocean, Karan Samudra, and then he has this desire to deliver all the living entities who are lying on his body, and then he creates all these universes, and in each of these universes he enters as Garbhadakshayi Vishnu. And when he enters into the universe has nothing. First thing that he does is, using his perspiration, he creates this Garbhodak ocean, and he lies inside that ocean, and he lies on a body, on a bed of Anantashesh. And from his navel, he creates a lotus along with a lotus leaf. So lotus flower, lotus stem, and lotus leaf. He picks up, there are some souls who are lying on his body, and he picks up one soul who is most eligible to become Brahma. Mm-hmm. So he is the one who actually gives birth to Brahmaji. And Brahmaji understands all that. How come Brahmaji knows all that? Because he has been told by Krishna only that Krishna has given him the Vedas and explained to him the entire process, what exactly has happened, from where have you actually come about. So Brahmaji knows that I have also been created by him. So let us go through the purport. Even Brahma, the creator of the universe, admits that he is not the actual creator, but is simply inspired by Lord Narayan and therefore creates under his superintendence those things already created by him, the super soul of all living entities. Two identities of soul, the super soul and the individual soul, are admitted to be in the living entity, even by the greatest authority of the universe. The super soul is the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, whereas the individual soul is the eternal servitor of the Lord. The Lord inspires the individual soul to create what is already created by the Lord. And by the goodwill of the Lord, a discoverer is something in the world is accredited as the discoverer. So Srila Prabhupada comes out with an example of Christopher Columbus, who, and this particular city's name is also Columbus. So he came to the West trying to search for wealth. Most probably he was searching for Bharat, thing like that. And while the West, America was already existing, he just came and discovered. So that's the way, with this example, it is understood that the entire creation was done, and then Brahmaji was given the responsibility of populating this creation. Okay. So no one can create anything without the sanction of the Lord, since everyone sees according to his ability. This ability is also awarded by the Lord according to one's willingness to render service unto the Lord. One must therefore be voluntarily willing to render service unto the Lord, and thus the Lord will empower the doer in proportion to his surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Even Brahmaji, selection of Brahmaji from among all the souls who are lying on the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu also requires qualification. So one obviously is willingness, that he is willing to serve the Lord in this process of creation, and two, he should be qualified, and there is criteria of qualification which is given in Bhagavatam, in later cantos of Bhagavatam, that one has to perform varnashram properly for 100 lifetimes, then you become eligible to become Brahmaji. And there is also another eligibility which is very, very interesting. In Canto 9, Srila Prabhupada says that first time when we entered this material space, first time, not now, first time, when we entered, we do not know. Srila Prabhupada keeps saying, don't think about when we entered. That we entered itself, entered means we'll have to go back. That's all you'll have to think of. But Srila Prabhupada says that first time when you entered, you became eligible to become Brahmaji. So for example, all these souls are there. If somebody would have performed 100 times varnashram properly, he is selected. Or someone has come first time, he is selected. That soul is selected to be Brahmaji. Alright, that's it. So you have to be qualified and you have to be willing to serve. And Srila Prabhupada talks of another example. This example is of Arjuna. Arjuna, see, this particular verse is there. Nimitta matram bhava savvisach. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, see, all this entire war of Kurukshetra, I have already carried out. I mean, all the soldiers are supposed to die, all the kings are supposed to die. You only become an agent. So similarly, Brahmaji is also an agent of the Lord in this process of creation. Personality of Godhead who resides in everyone's body and who directs everything for one who is a soul surrendered unto him. Those who are not surrendered are under the care of material nature. Devotees like Brahma and Arjuna do not do anything on their own account, but as fully surrendered souls, they always await indications from the Lord. Therefore, they attempt to do something which appears very wonderful to ordinary vision. Now, this is also a learning for us. Whenever we get an instruction, we should be performing our activities. So, our instruction comes from where? One, our instruction comes from literatures like the scriptural literatures like Bhagavad Gita. We get our instructions from spiritual masters, Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, Path Pradarshak Guru, Vartama Pradarshak Guru, or we get instructions from Chaitya Guru also. Obviously, Chaitya Guru, if you are able to listen to Chaitya Guru, then obviously like Chaitya Guru as well, and sadhus, devotees. Yeah. One of the Lord's names is Urukrama, or one whose actions are very wonderful and are beyond the imagination of the living being. So the actions of his devotees sometimes appear very wonderful due to the direction of the Lord. If we keep reading Bhagavatam, we will learn about all pastimes of different incarnations of the Lord. And say, for example, Vamandev. When Vamandev was a dwarf, he came in the form of a dwarf and he asked for 3 pieces of land. Now, when Bali Maharaj agreed to those 3 pieces of land, in spite of his spiritual master Sukracharya warning him not to comply, but he rejected his spiritual master and he complied. You know what is the meaning of the word Sukracharya? He is an acharya, but Sukracharya means somebody who wants to amass wealth. So Sukracharya actually wanted the 3 worlds from Bali Maharaj as Guru Dakshina. And Lord Vishnu knew about this. So there were several purposes. He wanted to obviously like deliver Bali Maharaj, plus he wanted to also see to it that the 3 worlds don't go to somebody like Sukracharya. Just like the Lord particularly took care to decimate Hiranyakashipu in the form of Narasimhadev. So this is so what did the Lord do? Lord, he extended his legs. He extended his body. In one pace he took the entire Bhumandala, another pace he took the entire universe, the 3 worlds, to the extent that he actually pierced the outer covering or the covering of the universe. And when he pierced, water, the Viraja water, it washed his lotus feet and fell into this universe in the form of Mother Ganges. Wonderful pastimes. And even when a devotee performs some pastimes, like Brahmaji is a devotee of the Lord and he is performing pastimes, and these are all so wonderful. Do you know, Brahmaji actually does not give, he only gives birth to few of his sons. And these sons actually give birth to all the species. A snake species, bird species, insect species, all of them come from Brahmaji's sons. So we learn about this 8.4 million species. Where do they come from? Very logical. This is the way our scriptures are saying. How do these 8.4 million species come about? So this is something like, we may consider them to be, we obviously need to remove our doubts. We need to have faith in the scriptures, in faith in what the Lord says, and then obviously our understanding will be much clearer. So this is basically the first sloka, the second sloka, that is 18th, text 18. Sattvam rajas tama iti
Tama iti
nirgunasya gunastraya
nirgunasya gunastrayah
sthiti sarga nirodheshu grihita mayaya vibho. Translation please.
The Supreme Lord is pure, spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities, yet for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion and ignorance.
The Supreme Lord is explained in this particular verse. He is what? Pure, spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities. And what does he do? he creates this material world, because the external energy is coming from the Lord only, and he's also maintaining, he's also making arrangements for annihilation. So we will try to understand this annihilation, and we will relate all this to ourselves. I mean, it will be very, very interesting. And what does it do? And this external energy includes what? The three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. The Supreme Lord is the master of the external energy, manifested by the three material modes, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. And as master of this energy, he is ever unaffected by the influence of such bewildering energy. So we know famous verses from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 10. Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. So this material nature, which is one of my energies, Krishna's energies, is working under my direction. So it's a verse which is related. And you know, this prakriti is something which we need to be aware of. Why? Because in chapter 3, verse 27, we find that prakrite kriyamanani gunaya karmani sarvasaha. So the spirit soul actually is not the doer of activities, but every activity is being performed by the three modes of material nature. I'll explain to you, I mean, this particular aspect, and you will really relate to this. Why is it that the material nature is functioning, and why is it that we are not doing anything? Because there is a perspective which I would like to actually bring on the table. The living entities, the jivas, however, are affected by or susceptible to being influenced by such modes of material nature. That is the difference between the Lord and the living entities. The living entities are subjected by those qualities, although originally the living entities are qualitatively one with the Lord. Now you tell me, what is our constitutional position? In chapter 15, verse 7, we know, Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So, who are we? We are part and parcel of Krishna. Alright. When Sanatana Goswami asked Lord Chaitanya, what is our constitutional position? What did he say? What did Lord Chaitanya say? Jivara Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. So eternal. This word eternal has to be understood. Are we in this position eternal?
Yeah.
As soul.
As soul we are eternal. What is this soul?
Part of Krishna.
Part and parcel of Krishna is understood. But to be eternal, we have to be eternally performing. We should be in an eternal position to perform whatever service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, who is that eternal? Is it we in this particular body? Are we eternal? We are obviously not eternal. We have understood that like the body changes. We were small, we became youth, and then I'm for example getting old, like that. So we are not eternal. Then who is eternal? I'll tell you. If you have to consider this aspect of eternity, then you'll have to consider that we are actually an eternal being in the spiritual world. That eternal being is eternal. Eternally serving the Lord. If we only relate to ourselves in this material world and not relate ourselves to the spiritual world, then we are missing out a very, very important aspect of our identity. The true identity is our spiritual identity. This is a reflection. Chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita says, everything that is there in this material world is a reflection. So what is the original identity? In the spiritual world. The moment you consider yourself to be the spiritual identity, yes, I understand. The spiritual identity is not serving serving the Supreme Lord as of now. That maybe the spiritual identity is sleeping. We can consider like that. Yes.
How can we visualize the spiritual identity?
We do not have to visualize. We have to only know, because we can't. First we know. that we are a living entity. We are a spiritual entity with a spiritual identity. That is all we know from Srila Prabhupada. Then comes the question of understanding. The understanding, I will relate that understanding from these verses.
When you
How?
when you wake up, then you will know you're spiritual. You're sleeping.
You are sleeping when you wake up. When you wake up, you how to wake up also, like I'll explain to you from these verses. Let us go ahead. First context we have understood is we are actually a spiritual identity, and we have to relate to that spiritual identity. Obviously, we can't because we do not know, we have forgotten. But there we know about a concept called Swarup Siddhi. Somebody who are liberated, they know who they are. For example, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he himself declared that he is Nayan Mani Manjari. Living, he has a material body, so-called material body, but he knew that who he was, or rather who he is, eternally and serving. We do not know, we have forgotten who we are eternally. We are also supposed to be serving. Otherwise, how are we eternal? We are not eternal in this situation. That identity is eternal. Okay, now. So Mamai Mangsho has understood, and we know about this particular verse also. Chapter 7, verse 5, Aparayam Ithastva Anyam. Anyam is another. Prakritim Viddhi me Param. Param Prakriti. So it is like a spiritual identity or a spiritual energy that we possess, originally possess. And Srila Prabhupada has given us a very interesting analogy of sun. So sun rays are there anyway, but when there is a cloud, then we don't see the sun. But is the sun ray not there? Is the sun not there? Sun is there. Sun ray is also there. Similarly, we are in the spiritual world and we are today covered by all this Maya, illusion. Similar. So Lord is also like that. Lord is there. See, Lord is eternally manifesting his internal potency or spiritual energy, just like the sun and its rays in the clear sky. But at times he creates the material energy as the sun creates a cloud in the clear sky. As the sun is ever increasingly unaffected by a spot of cloud, so also the unlimited Lord is unaffected by the spot of material energy manifested at times in the unlimited span of the Lord's rays of Brahma Jyoti. Okay, then let's go to text 19. Karya Karana Kartritve
Karya Karana Kritritve
Dravya Jnana Kriyashraya
Dravya Jnana Kriyasraya
Badananti Nityada Muktam
Badananti Nityanadam
Mainam Purusham Guna.
Mainam Purusham Guna.
These three modes of material nature, being further manifested as matter, knowledge and activities, put the eternally transcendental living entity under conditions of cause and effect and make him responsible for such activities. Karana is cause and Karya is effect. Karya Karana. Alright. So we are supposed to be what? Marginal potency of the Lord. That living entity out there in the spiritual world is considered to be in marginal potency. And that living entity has all this, has entered into a situation of Ichha Dvesa Samuthena, chapter 7, verse 27. So it has Ichha, that is desire. Desire is a characteristic of every living entity. And most of the living entities in the spiritual world have a desire to serve the Lord, have a desire to give pleasure to the Lord.
Who gives us the desire?
Desire is because Krishna has desire, so we have desire. Mamai Vangsho, for example, if you take a drop of water from ocean, that drop of water will also be salty. Ocean is salty, drop of water is also salty. Similarly, Krishna has desire, so living entity being part and parcel also has desire. Constitutional position. In the constitutional position there is desire. So what type of desire? Desire to serve the Lord, desire to please the Lord. But unfortunately, we are marginal potency of the Lord. Krishna has also another characteristic which is called independence. Swarat. So we are also independent. But our independence is limited. Limited to what extent? Whether we want to serve the Lord or we want to enjoy. Independent of the Lord. So that is the reason why it is Ichha Dvesha. Dvesha means to be independent of the Lord. Alright. So this is the reason why we have fallen in this. We are so-called we have fallen in this material world. Now we are a living entity, spiritual entity, with spiritual identity in the spiritual world, and we are so-called fallen. That means our reflection is here in this material world. And what has Narayan done? Narayan has created all these 24 elements and packed us up with these 24 elements. So this is basically a packing of these 24 elements. Nothing else. Okay. And obviously there are some verses like Krishna Bahirmukhaya Bhagavan Chakare Nikatastha Mayatare Jhapatiya Dhare. There is another in Chaitanya Charitamrita also verse Krishna Bhuli Shaiji Anadi Bahirmukh. See, that is also another problem. Anadi. We are from beginningless. We are in this particular situation. So Mahavishnu would have, whenever he breathes out, he creates this universe. Whenever he breathes in, we are all inside. Alright. So many times he has done this, breathing in and breathing out, and we are in this material world only, in a reflected form only. We have not got delivered. Now, from here I will tell you, when you sleep, there is I'll not go into all these details. When you sleep, my question is like this. We will go to the next verse later. When you sleep, do you remember who you are?
No.
Sometimes? That means you are not sleeping.
Dreaming.
You may be dreaming. That's a separate issue altogether. But you do not remember your name. Do you know? Do you remember your name? Do you remember your position? Do you remember who you are? Who are your relatives? Nothing you remember.
If you are in deep sleep.
Sleep. Normal sleep. Every day we are sleeping, we are forgetting ourselves. When we are waking up, we remember who we are. Correct? Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Lord makes us forget, Lord makes us remember. So when we wake up, we remember, oh, we are so and so. This is our position. Relatives, this, that, husband, wife, children, this, that, all that. Correct? This state can be considered to be like Kaivalya. Sleep, when we are sleeping. Not actually Kaivalya, but like. So we have what is called Nam Abhas, Bhav Abhas. We can consider this to be like Kaivalya Abhas. Now you tell me, during the night of Brahma, what happens? We are on the body of Garbhodakshaya Visnu. Kaivalya.
What is Kaivalya?
I'll tell you, I'll explain to you. Kaivalya. Kaivalya is used in the next verse, we will find Kaivalya. So I am actually building up to this next verse. Kaivalya, all these are Kaivalya. Now, when complete annihilation has taken place, we are on the body of Mahavishnu. That is also like Kaivalya. In each of these states, when we are sleeping, night of Brahma, and complete annihilation, whom are we dependent on? Paramatma. That's all. No one else is there. Yeah, Paramatma, other than Paramatma. Your relatives are there when you are sleeping? No. You've forgotten yourself. Only Paramatma. So you are under the shelter of, and that is the reason why Adhishthanam.
All the time you are dependent.
All the time, but that time we are, specifically, when we are sleeping, every time obviously we are under the shelter of Paramatma. But when we are sleeping, let us understand that particular state. sleeping, we have forgotten our identity.
Prabhupada says daydreaming and night dreaming, both are dreaming.
Dreaming. This is also dreaming. Absolutely. There is a fantastic point that has been raised. Even during the time when we are unknowing our identity, false identity, that is also dreaming. Why? Because our true identity is there in the spiritual world. This is not our true identity. This is mostly we are in a state of kaivalya. We are thinking, but kaivalya, Srila Prabhupada says, is being dependent on Paramatma or being dependent on Krishna. That is what actual kaivalya means. Let us go to the next verse with this background. Sa esa bhagaval lingas
Sa esha bhagavalinges
trivir eter adokshaja
Trivir adoksaja
swalakshita gatir brahman
Swalakshita gatir Brahman
sarvesam mama cheshwaram.
Sarvesham mama cheshwaraha.
O Brahman Narada, the superseer, the transcendental Lord, is beyond the perception of the material senses of the living entities because of the above mentioned three modes of nature, but he is the controller of everything, including me. So Brahmaji is saying like this to Narada. So Srila Prabhupada is quoting these two verses, chapter 7, verse 24. Avyaktam vyaktim apannam manyante mam abuddhayah param bhavam ajananto mam avyayam anuttamam. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. And next verse 25 of the same chapter 7. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrita mudho ayam janati loko mam ajam avyam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency. Then therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Foolish. Avajananti mam mudha. So it's like that. Similar sort of a verse. So we will not be able to understand the Lord. The impersonalist who gives more importance to the transcendental rays of the Lord as Brahma Jyoti and who concludes that the absolute truth is ultimately impersonal and only manifests a form at a time of necessity is less intelligent than the personalist. The fact is that such impersonalists are covered by the above mentioned three modes of material nature and therefore they are unable to approach the transcendental personality of the Lord. The Lord is not approachable by everyone because he is curtained by his yoga maya potency. This misconception of the formlessness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is due to the yoga maya curtain of the Lord and can be removed only by the supreme will as soon as the conditioned soul surrenders unto him. The devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to the above mentioned three modes of material nature can see the all blissful transcendental form of the Lord with their vision of love in the attitude of pure devotional service. Now let us understand this. Hare Krishna. I have the Golok chart in front of you. We are a living entity either in the Vaikuntha world or in the Golok world. Anywhere. If we are Gaudiya Vaishnavas, most probably we are residents of Goloka. Most probably. There is no guarantee. There are even among the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, some are oriented towards Lord Rama. So he would have a spiritual identity in Ayodhya, Adi Ayodhya. Or somebody might be interested in Lakshmi Narayan, Narasimhadev. So they might position out there in the Vaikuntha planets. But now you tell me, I have explained to you three levels of Kaivalya. One is the sleep, we are daily sleeping. Two is night of Brahma. Three is complete annihilation. Now say we are a Jnani or a Yogi. Both a Jnani and a Yogi can have Brahman realization. So when one has Brahman realization, one is floating in Brahma Jyoti. And Impersonalists, they call this as Kaivalya. Do you think Brahma Jyoti, when we are in Brahma Jyoti, we have attained perfection of our life? Have we been able to awaken that spiritual identity which we are originally? So is Kaivalya also like a dream? This impersonalist Kaivalya also a dream?
Partly.
Dream? What partially? Fully a dream only. It's not awakening our real identity. Our real identity is supposed to be in the spiritual world. And what Srila Prabhupada says, the devotees of the Lord, we are a devotee of the Lord, who are transcendental to the above mentioned three modes of material nature. Obviously, in the spiritual world, the three modes of material nature do not function. And can see the all blissful transcendental form of the Lord with their vision of love in the attitude of pure devotional service. So, for example, in Ras Leela, what do you see? You see Krishna with every gopi. Correct? So Krishna is there with every devotee in the spiritual world. Personally, directly relating. Obviously, like Srila Prabhupada keeps saying, there are 5 ways of relation. Santaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras. Those are the only 5 which are there in Goloka. And Krishna is enjoying, and Krishna is enjoying along. Krishna is not enjoying alone. Krishna is enjoying along with that spiritual identity, currently sleeping. So if you don't relate to that spiritual identity, you will not understand that all this is dream. Even Brahman realization is dream.
I just wanted to say that partially I had said because at least we are in the ladder, like climbing the ladder.
What does Srila Prabhupada say? Even if you have attained Brahman realization, you can fall down. Why? Because one relation. Now from this particular paradigm, you should realize that why should you fall down? Because you have not realized your spiritual identity. That is number 1. Number 2, you have no understanding of relationship. So if there is no relationship, there is no enjoyment. And living entities are also Satchidanand. There is a tendency to enjoy.
They say you realize the Sat aspect of them.
Okay, you are absolutely right. Only Sat aspect. Eternity. That's it. Nothing more. So you want to, then you do not know the spiritual world. You do not know Vaikuntha. You do not understand Goloka. So where else will you only understand the material world. So you come down and do some philanthropic work. That's all you do. So it's all Kaivalya.
So there are 2 types of impersonalists, right? So one is Mayavadis and the another one is Brahmavadis. So Brahmavadis, they know Bhagwan aspect, but they are still attracted to the impersonal aspect of the Lord, right?
What does a Brahmavadi understand? They understand that Bhagavan has also come from Brahma Jyoti only.
No, they like Dhritarashtra.
They understand that from Brahman is the original, which is the reason why the 7.25 verse was there. No. 7.24. No. Oh, yes. See, this particular 7.24. I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. They are not Mayavadis. They are Brahmavadis. Consider that Lord was impersonal earlier, and from impersonal, he has manifested in the form of he's got a human form. That is the way they understand. All dream. So we have to understand, it's all a dream going on. Yes? Any questions?
But in this dream, you can realize Krishna when you hear the class from Swarupa Krishna.
Any class, your class. Everybody's class.
It's like
Yeah.
in a ladder.
When Bhagavatam, actually, what are we associating with? We are associating with Srila Prabhupada, his purports, where he lives in his books, and with Bhagavatam, with all the acharyas and their commentaries. Plus, obviously, we are relating with Sukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, all of them.
So So one question.
Yes.
So Krishna is the supreme controller, right? Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the controller of everything. Is he the controller of my desire?
He has made us, he is controller of the fact that he has made us marginal potency. If he has made us marginal potency, he allows us to desire the way we, based on our limited free will. He does not want to control our desire.
So the only thing that Krishna does not control is our desire. Right?
Yes.
You can say like that.
Yes.
So that is what will determine whether we become Krishna or is our desire. Ultimately.
Yes, so nicely it has been explained by Srila Prabhupada in the first purport, 17th purport, that willingness is also an important element in selection of Brahma. So many souls are there. For example, there was a list of souls who are eligible to become Brahma. The next soul who is eligible to become Brahma is Vayudev. And there are many others. So it's not that there is a lack of souls who have become eligible to become Brahma. There are souls, very, very powerful souls who can become Brahma, who have qualified, but they have to be willing. The desire has to be there.
Only thing is we have to change our desire.
Yeah.
That's all. The Jiva has to change your desire and you become Krishna conscious. You become Krishna conscious.
Absolutely. And Nectar of Devotion talks about lowliya, desire to serve, desire to please the Lord. That's all we need to develop. And then we'll come out of the dream.
So I was thinking that same point, Krishna doesn't control our desires because he doesn't want to. But
He will not.
But if
There
he
is no
wants
law.
to, then if he wants
He
to,
will
then,
not.
so don't we say that sometimes we get user instructions come from Guru. So Chaitya Guru is also one of them. So then Krishna is like saying that, hey, you know what? No, even if you have desire of, let's say, doing something which is not favorable, but don't do it. Then he changes our desires. No, is it not?
For him is sanction.
Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna do in the end
For him is
to
sanction.
Arjuna?
No, it changes the desire. No? Then we get like,
Depending on your desire, Krishna is assisting you in that way. Like
Exactly. He
so,
provides
if you have desire to enjoy independence, so he creates the material world, right? He assists you in your desire to
But he
enjoy.
also sends devotees in our life, not according to our desire. He's trying to
He's
get us
trying,
out of
yeah.
suffering.
like when we suffer more and when we are
Whole material
living
world
in
is an
accident,
element to get us out of
then
the
he try to help us, by sending
He
different.
tries to help us, like the parent.
Yeah.
If the child wants cigarettes, the parents say, I will not give you. You take this nice thing.
No, suppose even if the parents give one cigarette and you start smoking hundreds of it, then the parents intervene, like this is getting too much.
Only one is okay. 100 is not.
I mean,
Krishna also does not fulfill our desires. He says, if the child asks for poison, I will not give him poison. Instead, I ask him to take the shelter of my lotus feet. So sometimes he does not sanction our desires.
For devotees, yes. He doesn't. So many people are eating meat, right? They are slaughtering cows every day. They're doing sinful activities every day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, in one sense, it is their desire to do that sinful activity, right? Because they are doing that sinful, and every day they are doing. So, we say Krishna is Upadrishta and Anumanta. He is the witness and he is also sanctioning. So, if you want, like Prabhupada said that his son wanted to put that hand in the fan. Prabhupada said, don't do it. He said, no, I want to put. Okay, put. So then he got hurt, and then that way he learned. So actually everybody learns in this material world, but sometimes you learn it hard way or you learn it the purpose of the material world Krishna has made to make us rectified in our consciousness. But how long? We are, like you said, Anadi. We have been here in this material world since Anadi. So many lifetimes we have not learned, right? Because we have been in this material world for so many lifetimes. So now it's a time to learn.
Anantashesh becomes so angry with us. Every time there is partial annihilation, Anantashesh sees, so many souls we have given so many opportunities to go back to wake up, but these souls have not availed of these opportunities, so destroyed. So annihilation starts. He like breathes out 11 rudras and then fire and then inundation and all that happens every night of Brahma.
Then demons get liberated also if they are killed by Krishna.
If they are killed by
By
Krishna.
Krishna. So in that way, Anantasesh is creating that fire, right?
Yes.
So it is actually his doing only, right? So can't we say that they are also being killed by Anantasesh, who is Supreme Lord? So they also get liberated.
But after being killed, you don't go to the spiritual world. You go on the body of Garbhodakshai Vishnu only. So
But Putana was killed, she got the liberation of mother.
yeah, because she wanted to
But other demons may not get the same liberation.
Putana is a very special case. Putana we have heard from Ishwari Mataji how Putana was so special to Krishna because she finally wanted to feed her with her breast milk. That aspect Krishna accepted. The other aspect Krishna took away all the anarthas anyway.
But they say Agasur, he was also related to Putana because he was sibling of Putana. So seeing Agasur, he was reminded of Putana. That's what, because he is a sibling. And because she came as a mother, then Agasur also got liberation because she is related to the
Demon.
the demon who came as a mother.
Darshan Prabhu also says he offered a playing ground for the children, his gopas to play. And
So he did service.
some service.
Also, Putana reminded Krishna of his mother, Yashoda. Agasur reminded Krishna of Putana, so of his mother, like that, maybe.
And all the Kurukshetra people who died in the Kurukshetra, they
So
got
everything should
Sarupya.
remind Krishna of something that is good. So we all should be liberated then. Don't you think?
Eventually.
But do we have?
If Agasur, he reminded of Putana and Putana, he thought of his mother, then everything ultimately should remind, whatever we are doing should remind Krishna. But if we are killed by Krishna, that's
If we are killed by Krishna. But
Krishna's time also kills.
we have an advantage actually because we are following Srila Prabhupada. So, and Prabhupada is a resident of Vrindavan and we are sleeping out there. We can wake up if we remember Srila Prabhupada in every aspect of our life out here.
So you are saying that first time in the 9th canto, Prabhupada says, first time you come, it's Brahma's birth. So that means you are very pure at that point. So you came from the spiritual world, right? So kind of it's hinting that you fell from the spiritual world first time, you are coming into the material world. And so
You're purer than others.
you are purer than others.
So you are selected.
But that means we were in the spiritual world.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
This is what my context was.
No,
That
no.
we are still in the
Some
spiritual
people
world.
say that we were never in the spiritual world.
We are still in the spiritual world. This is what my entire
But we are
presentation
dreaming.
was.
We are dreaming that we are in the material world. But
We are dreaming that we are in the material world. We are in the spiritual world.
So we are in the spiritual.
Yes.
So then they say that how did we develop Ichha Dvesha Sanuthana? How did
Yes.
we develop the desire to be in the
Because of
material
avidya.
world? But we were with Krishna and we were
spiritual world.
enjoying with him in the spiritual.
We are marginal potency. We have been given free will.
So how is that Prabhupada or the Bhagavad Gita says that once you come back to me, you will never fall again. What
Once
is
you
that?
come back means once you wake up, then you remember, no, Baba, next time I'm not gonna sleep anymore. Enough of sleeping. I have slept and I have really gone through a harrowing situation.
But in Vrindavan, they sleep at night, right? The Yashoda Mai and everybody doesn't sleep at night.
Yashoda Mai.
Is there a concept of time?
No, I mean all the Gopas, they go to their home and they sleep at night.
They are liberated souls.
Okay, so
That's
they-
a separate
are
story. Understanding altogether for liberated souls. We are only talking about conditioned souls.
So conditioned soul ultimately will we become Nitya Siddha because we are Nitya Baddhas right now, but eventually we'll always be in the spiritual
We'll
world.
become sadhana siddhas. We'll not become nitya siddhas.
Or Kripa Siddhas.
Kripa siddhas. Absolutely. Kripa siddhas.
But we will still remain in marginal potency even after getting
Yes,
liberated.
always.
So then,
Again, you can come, but once burnt, twice shy, the Prabhupada said.
Yeah.
Once you...
Correct. Beautiful.
No, but
statement.
well, still sometimes people make mistakes again and again and again and
Like
again.
Jain
No,
Vijay
but we
also
are thinking
said-
from our dream state. I mean that the spiritual identity will not once burnt, twice shy. For the spiritual identity. Yes.
Jain Vijay also fell from the spiritual.
What happened to Jain Vijay? From Jain Vijay only we have understood all this. Jain Vijay was always there in the spiritual world. And they came first time as Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksh. Then after they got salvation. Salvation means what? Again they went back only, there only. Again they came as Ravana and Kumbhakarna.
But
They got
didn't-
salvation.
But they didn't come by their desire, they came by Krishna's desire.
that was
That's understood. Doesn't matter. For them, they have a special purpose because they wanted to give Virya Ras to the Lordship. Then again they went back, again they came in the form of Shishupal
So
Dantavakra.
can we say we also came because of desire of the Lord?
Oh, then it's very good. For example, Srila Prabhupada said, like, Lord sent me, I did not want to come. Lord said, no, you have a purpose to
But that
fulfill
is-
out there.
He is pure devotee, so he came for
He-
What about us?
Nitya Siddhas and Nitya Baddhas. So we'll have to have a separate class for each of these. We are only talking about Nitya Baddhas. Anadi Bahirmukh.
So if we didn't come to the material world, Krishna cannot perform his pastimes of delivering all the conditioned souls.
That's
So
a very,
then-
very wonderful way of saying.
So then, just like Jain Vijay came to give Virya Ras to Krishna, we all came so that Krishna can perform the pastime of delivering us. Otherwise, how we can be delivered?
Very interesting. I love this. Because like if
No, I'm just because you're philosophical, so I'm just trying to.
this is the pastime of delivery. This is also beautiful. So he himself comes sometimes to deliver. Sometimes he sends his messengers. Sometimes he sends his pure devotees to deliver. Absolutely right. This entire concept of ahetuki kripa, causeless mercy, works. And
But there has to be somebody to deliver, right?
Ah.
So somebody has to be. So we all came as fallen souls. So then we can be delivered. So it is actually the.
we have to understand one thing. There are so many of us sleeping out there. Obviously, the population is less of people sleeping, of jivas sleeping out there, because the population of the spiritual world is, I read somewhere, it's 10 times the population of the material world. All the universes put together.
99.9% of the jivas.
Yeah. It's like prison house, there are just very little
Ah.
population in the
Few of
prison,
us
but
are in
there's so
prison.
many free.
This prison is basically the paradigm we should think is we are sleeping. So many of us are sleeping.
So supposing you are a Gopa and you are now here, so you are sleeping there in the spiritual.
Yes.
Gopas are
So another Gopa will come and say, "Hey, wake up! Why are you sleeping?"
Fortunate. Yeah? So you never know, a Manjari might have come to wake us up.
Actually, it's for only split second that we are sleeping.
This is a very important point. That split second is so many breathes and breathing and breathe out of Mahavishnu. Split. The concept of time is also not there.
But why some Gopa has not woken you up in the spiritual world? You are sleeping. Your
Because
identity is there.
I have not done Raganuga Bhakti.
because you are just split second.
So they are already going and they're saying, "Oh, this soul is sleeping. Let me wake him up. Let me wake him." Because he's dreaming, right? He has gone somewhere else. So why those residents of spiritual world will say?
That is the reason why Srila Prabhupada came, to wake us up.
No, but those Gopas are the
But I'm
nityas.
talking about the spiritual world.
He is a
Your
Gopa
identity
only.
is there in
He is
the-
a Gopa Gopi. I do not know who he is. Manjari maybe. He came.
He's trying to wake us up.
He is-
He's coming to our dream
Ah.
and he's trying to wake us up.
Correct. Beautifully said. He has come in our dream to wake us up. He's entered our dream itself.
Then we are all in each other's dreams.
Our dreams are connected.
Entity.
Absolutely right. Yeah. That is the reason why sadhu sangha is such an important thing. So when we are together trying to wake ourselves up.
There is a nice verse there. Parasparanukathanam pavanam bhagavati shiva.
Mathurati mutatushri nivritti mithat.
Nivrittir mithatmana. That when you come in the association of devotees and talk about Krishna, it is very purifying. And then mutually we get liberated from this. Nivritti.
Become detached
Detached.
from sense enjoyment.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful. Bodhayantaya parasparam.
So there is also another class of devotees, very very highly qualified devotees. So they say that no, we were never in spiritual world. We were eternally in the material world, but then once we get liberated, then we can enter. And then there is another sets of devotees. They said no, we never go to spiritual world. We always belonged here, but in material world also Krishna will have a place for us once we become liberated. Like there is a place for liberated people in the material world. Either engage in service of the Lord or where there is, but they stay here. So then how do we understand so many, and like I can name Hari Prabhu and many of they said no, we never were in spiritual world.
Yeah, Jiva Goswami said we were always there. We were created by Paramatma. This is the way Jiva Goswami says. But many concepts do not get clarified if you don't understand this paradigm of being in the spiritual world. And Srila Prabhupada said we have fallen down from the spiritual world.
Then there is no question of Swarup Siddhi.
Yeah.
Because if you are not in the spiritual world, you don't have any Swarup there in which you serve Krishna. Then there is no Swarup Siddhi. Because you were always in the material world, then you don't have any Swarup in the spiritual world.
Yeah. Then how are you
It
eternally
can be given.
But it is eternally there already. Whatever your Swarup is there, it is said, it is already there, but it is revived. Right?
So here, going back home, back to Godhead. Back home means we were there and now we're going back.
But again, Swarup Siddhi is it for Nitya Baddhas?
This is for
Everybody.
Everybody. I mean, you have to achieve it, so it means you know who you are in this.
Because it's like Kripa Siddhi and Sadhana Siddhi.
by that you gain your Swarup Siddhi. You understand yourself. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Grandhashmar Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai. Now next Saturday we have Prem. Yeah, next Saturday we have Prem Sindhu Prabhu continuing that Brahma explains the beginning of creation.
Physically.
So hope we can all come again this Saturday.
धृति को मेरे पे switch